Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be reacting to Jethro Tull, Sun, the next track off of the album Benefit, and the second to last track, too. And this one's a little bit shorter than the other ones we've done so far. It's only about 3 minutes long. And yeah, I've been going through the album track by track, so if you want, go back to the beginning. I think when I finish, I'm gonna put them all into a playlist, so, you know, hopefully it'll be easier to find all of them on my channel. But yeah, I'm excited to continue the journey. Let us get right into it because I just finished recording the last video. I want to get right into the next song. All right, Jethro Tull, Sun. Got the lyrics pulled up, song meanings for later discussion. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that was an awesome opening.
Sympathy, be grateful, my son, for what you get.
Sorry, bringing it back to the beginning and starting it over again because that was such a awesome beginning. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So I mentioned that Inside, I didn't say it in these exact words, but Inside felt a little bit like more positive and more laid back than the other songs so far. And for it to transition into that is freaking incredible. Let's go. Just turn up as loud as it'll go.
Sympathy, be grateful, my son, for what you get. Expression and passion. 10 days for watching the sunset. When I was your age, amusement we made for ourselves. Permission to breathe, sir. Don't talk like that, I'm your old man. There'll soon be demons, son. So join up as soon as you can. You can't borrow that, 'cause that's for the races and doesn't grow on trees. I only feel
I thought it was over.
what touches me. I can see a better state to be in. Who has the
One pause, bring it back. Let's keep going.
I can see a better state to be in. Who has the right to question what I might do? In feeling I should touch the real and only things I feel. It's advice, and it's nice to know when you're best advised. You're only turned 30, so son, you'd better apologize. And when you grow up, if you're good, we will buy you a bike.
Oh, this one's angry. Ugh. Dang it. Wait, don't start the next one. Okay. That one was angry. Wow. Jeez. Okay. Let's take a look at those lyrics. They seem pretty straightforward. And also, I appreciate that he changed the music and like his voice a little bit when it was the son talking. It's like the opposite of Father and Son by Cat Stevens, to be totally honest. There's a few things in here very interesting to me. All right, so first off, I want to mention that another thing that's interesting to me about this album that seems like a bit of a departure from previous, maybe not from standard, like the sound, there's a little bit of folk and a lot of harder rock in here. Although the general feeling still sounds like stand up did. And like not like this was, obviously. But there's also, it feels like it's more riff based or more like I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say. It's like, yeah, there's like a main riff that is the main, like, I don't know. When I think of riff-based music, I often think of like Led Zeppelin or Black Sabbath or something like that. Like the background, the main driving force in the guitar is reminding me a little bit more of bands like that. Whereas Stand Up and This Was felt less like that, more like they were playing chords and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, song was very interesting. Let's go over these lyrics. First of all, oh, I feel sympathy. And his voice has a lot of sarcasm in these things. So, oh, I feel sympathy. So, that sounds like it's starting off. Sorry for shaking everything. Starting off from a conversation that was already they were already having. So it's like the son was like, "Do you have no sympathy?" And he's like, "Oh, I feel sympathy. Be grateful, my son, for what you get. Expression and passion. 10 days for watching the sunset. When I was your age, amusement we made for ourselves." People do this a lot. People do this all the time, actually. Like this, and it's not, that's one thing. People like to say, it's so weird to me, too. And I understand why, but if you flip it, it suddenly seems more weird. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to articulate this. So, people like to say, don't want for more, because there's people who have less. Or like, be grateful for what you have, because there are other people who are less fortunate than you are. And that sounds like, to an extent, that's correct. Like, you should be grateful for what you have. But in this case, it feels more like manipulation. He's like, when I was your age, we did this, so you'd better stop being or ungrateful and stuff like that, right? And this is me taking like a little bit of an idea in this and like taking it out of context almost. But to me, when people say that, it's almost like the same as if someone told someone who had, told someone, you're not allowed to be happy because you need to always remember there's other people who have more than you do. Like when you flip that mindset around, it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, people like to use that to try and tell people who want to try and achieve more or be more than they currently are, or people who want to increase their own perceived worth, I guess. They're like, you should just be happy with what you have because there's other people who have less. It's just interesting to me. Anyway, when I was your age, amusement we made for ourselves. Permission to breathe, sir. So then he's like, so he's like, you're trying to tell me I need to ask you permission to breathe? It's a sarcastic reply that I think is pretty cliche. And then the dad's like, don't talk like that. I'm your old man. They'll soon be demobbed, son, so join up as soon as you can. You can't borrow that because it's for the races, and it doesn't grow on trees. So it's like, maybe it isn't money. He can't borrow money. It's for the races. Is he betting on races? Who knows? All right. And then he says, I only feel what touches me, and feel in touching I can see. A better state to be in. So he's saying, yeah, that's another thing. And it's interesting. So since I started this channel, I have people say stuff, and I hope this doesn't come off in a bad way. But there are people who like to tell me stuff like you need to look at the context in which these songs were released. If I don't get it, you know, like if they're like you're missing some type of historical context, or like what the atmosphere was like, or what the world was like when this song came out, or there'll just be lots of people on any given video saying, and they did this with no auto-tune, you know, like as if all artists today use auto-tune and stuff like that. But in the end, like, so people who are older than I am, right? They experienced lots of things that I did not. But then the people who, like, their parents, right? They're the people who are older than they are. They also experienced lots of things that their children didn't. And things change over time. I see people talking about, you know, when I was your age, we didn't have the internet. Well, now the internet's a thing. Now that's what it is. And I'll bet when if I have children, right? Or even, and not even if I have children, if I interact with kids when I'm 30 or 40 years old, and there's some new thing, and we're living in, and people each in their house have a pod that's like a virtual reality simulator that they go in. Instead of a headset anymore, you have a weird, you know, I don't even know what I'm saying by this point, but something super futuristic, or they have flying cars or teleportation devices, like they said they'd have years ago. And I hope that I remember not to kind of be like, well, back when I was a kid, I didn't have these things, because they weren't around then, you know, like. He says, I only feel what touches me. What I experience is what I experience, and what you experienced is what you experienced. There is a gap there. But that doesn't mean that people can't bridge that gap. I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent now, so whatever. Let's continue. And feel in touching, I can see a better state to be in. So he through what has affected him, he's like, all right, I think there's better ways to do things than people were doing it for however long. Or I have my own way of doing things. Maybe this was the way it was supposed to be back 50 years ago, or 60 years ago, even 10 years ago, to be honest. Like, I've had people come on the channel and comment stuff like, don't let your PC culture ideas influence your videos. If I, like, talk about, like, if a song starts talking about, trying to think of an example. Like in the Meatloaf song, Paradise by the Dashboard Light, where I thought, like, the whole drawn out, like, sexual encounter was kind of humorous, and then I was like, thought the guy was being stupid for, like, not saying he loved the girl and stuff like that. People were like, you're being way too PC culture and pretending to be politically correct. First of all, those are the values that my parents instilled in me. It has nothing to do with the internet. I got on the internet for the first time when I was 15 years old. But then secondly, like, even if it was a result of the world around me, that's the world I grew up in. That's what affected me. And that's the current state of things. Maybe something, I mean, let me think. A good example of that is not that long ago, a few hundred years ago, abject and out in the open racism was perfectly, people accepted it. People thought that was perfectly fine. People held slaves. And then finally, people decided to do something about it because it's inherently, you know, there's so many inherent problems with that. and then just trying to dehumanize the slaves by trying to pretend like they're somehow not human or less human than other humans. That was the coping mechanism, right? People made these whole ad campaigns trying to pretend like all types of disgusting things, they would say, and trying to dehumanize other people, to rationalize to themselves, and to try and spread misinformation to other people. And then eventually there was an uprising. There were wars fought over this, and eventually they took down that institution because it wasn't right. So anyway, I feel in what's touching me, I feel like I can see a better state to be in. And then he's like, who has the right to question what I might do? A lot of this album seems like it's going into this idea of people choosing their own path and staying true to themselves and not worrying about outside forces, which is very interesting since I'm reading a book that's literally entirely about that right now. So who has the right to question what I might do? In feeling, I should touch the real and only things I feel. And then the dad's like, it's advice, and it's nice to know when you're advised. Which is, trying to... yeah. There's a bitterness here. All right. And this is where the song gets nuts. Like, up till this point right here, it feels cliche. Everything about it feels cliche. It feels like, a typical thing between, I'm thinking like maybe 13 to 17 or 18 years old is the son, and then the dad, right? He says, you've only turned 30. You're only 30 years old. What do you know? Son, you'd better apologize. And when you grow up, if you're good, we will buy you a bike. Which almost makes it seem like is the son still living with his parents at 30 years old? There's so many questions there. Yeah. So that ending was very shocking. I apologize if I went on too long about a bunch of different things. I don't know. Right now, YouTube is my main creative outlet, I guess, other than some writing stuff down. But it's just interesting to see what other people think about, if anyone else shares my opinions sometimes. So, all right. So then anyway, let's see what the other people on Song Meanings had to say about this song. Wow. This person writes, I like this song. It's about, to them, how, and this is more prevalent now than it was when the song was written, parents spend 18 years raising a child, and thus, what do you get? A 30-year-old child. Yeah. I see that a lot. I read something once about parenting, and obviously I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I just read this and thought, oh, that sounds like a good starting point. Where it said, the job of a parent is not to pave a road for their child, but to instead provide a road map. And then I saw another thing that said, raise a child until they're done being a child. From that point onward, raise an adult. And both of those quotes have stayed with me, and I've always thought they were very interesting. Oh, okay. So this says it's Ian Anderson's it's him mocking his abusive father. When Anderson was young, he wasn't interested in sports. His more delicate sensibilities caused his father to believe he was gay, and he would beat him for it on suspicion alone. And see also the lyric in Wind Up that goes, how you dare to tell me that I'm my father's son. What are the replies to this? Talking about Wind Up. And I kind of agree with what this person is saying about Wind Up, but, personal interpretation is what matters. Jeez. I did not know that about Ian Anderson's father. It's very interesting to me how a lot of really great artists, you realize that they've been through a lot of, like, crap. Lots and lots of crap. They go through all types of things. Like, yeah, that is abuse. Wow, okay. So anyway, now this video, which is for the song that has been the shortest on the album so far, is probably the longest video I've made for the album thus far. Definitely got me thinking a lot. Plus, the entire concepts that have been shown throughout the album so far have gotten me thinking a lot. So, bravo, Jethro Tull. Thank you so much, and thank you all for joining me. Let's continue on to the next song, Deathstroke 9, out. See you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.